welcome back to my channel. So I am actually on holiday today when you see this. We're going away this week with Abby and James and Lillian Archer to a lovely little cabin in North Yorkshire. And I wanted to get a couple of videos up while I was away, so I'm trying to be organised, and today I am doing a baby name video. I asked recently what videos you guys would like to see from me, as I've been struggling to kind of come up with some ideas, and baby name videos were mentioned quite a few times. So today I'm going to do my A to Z of favourite baby girl names, and then later in the week when I'm also away will be my A to Z of baby boys names, if you enjoy that. Some letters, I'm not going to lie, I found really hard, but I've just come up with like my favourite name for each letter, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about any of the names as we will be here all day, so I'm just going to go straight for it. I've got my list on my phone here. For the baby girls list and the baby boys list, I should say as well, I have kept out a couple of names which are my like current front runners for if we had another baby, what I would use currently. So yeah, a couple of names have been left out, but this is kind of my favourites apart from those. So for A, for a baby girl, I've gone for ALBA. I'd never really considered ALBA as a baby girl's name before. But Rhiann Gibson, her channel used to be called Pop Rocks Mama, I think, and I think she's just Rhiann Gibson now. But she's called her youngest little girl ALBA, and I absolutely love it. I think it's really unusual, really quirky, but I like names ending with A for girls. I think are really pretty, and it's just really girly and lovely. I just really like it. So yeah, ALBA is A. B is a name I have mentioned in a baby name video before. I think it was the first ever baby name video I did, and it got very mixed reviews. I think it's very much a Marmite name. You either love it or hate it, but I love like floral, nature inspired names, and I love the name Bluebell. I know it's not for everyone. It is a little bit slightly out there. I don't think it's like mega out there, but it's a little bit out there. But I just think it is the most gorgeous, gorgeous name, and a little bit like different from some of the more popular floral names. I just really like Bluebell, and you could shorten it to Bell if you wanted to, or Blue if you were a bit like edgy and cool, which I am not, but yeah, I just really love Bluebell, so that is my girl's name for B. C is a name I absolutely love, but I would never use it. This isn't a baby name I love but won't be using, but I will tell you, I wouldn't actually use this because I don't really like the shortened form of it, and that is the name Clementine. I absolutely love it. I think it's beautiful. Again, kind of like fruit, food, nature inspired name, which I'm a big fan of, especially for girls' names. And I love Clementine. I think it's got such a lovely ring to it. It's getting quite like popular now on like the Instagram, YouTube scene, and I really think it is beautiful. But, and no offence if you have a child with this name, I just really don't like it shortened to Clemmy. I think it reminds me of Flemmy. Like, I don't know why, but I just think Clemmy, Flemmy, and I automatically get put off it. So I love the name Clementine, but I wouldn't use it because I don't really like Clemmy for short. But yeah, that is my baby girl name for the letter C. For D, it's a name that was super high up on my list of contenders for Wilf if he had been a girl. This was one of our like top options, and that is the name Delilah. I think I've mentioned it before, but one of my all-time favourite songs is Plain White Tees' Hey There Delilah, and I've just always loved that name for that reason, and I really like Lila too. I think that's such a cute little nickname for a Delilah. For E, I've gone for a name that is a Scottish name, I believe. I really like Irish and Scottish names. I don't have any Irish in my family, but my granddad is Scottish, so I do think I could get away with a Scottish name, but I know this is very much one of those names that you wouldn't know how to pronounce just from looking at it, unless you're obviously like Scottish, and that is Ailey. I'll put the spelling on the screen. I think it is such a beautiful name, and I love those kind of like, is it like Gaelic spellings? I just think they look beautiful, and I think Ailey is such a pretty girly name. Sorry, I'm going to say pretty girly name for everything because that's just the like style of girls' names I really like. And I think Ailey is so beautiful, and like I think it would suit a baby or a child or an adult. Like I think it's one of those names that'll just follow you through life. But yeah, I love that for a name beginning with E, but Again, not a baby names I love but won't be using name, but I think people would struggle to know how to say it unless they already knew how to say it. So I probably would never use it for that reason, but I do really love the name Ailey. I tend to like slightly more unusual, like slightly less popular names, but for F, I've gone for Florence. Again, I think I've mentioned this in a video before, but Florence, I just adore. Like, it is just the most gorgeous names. Again, really popular with like Instagrammers and vloggers and things, and I can totally see why it's such a beautiful name. I think it's like that perfect mix of like traditional, like vintage sounding name, but with quite like a modern twist. I think it would suit any age. It's got loads of lovely little things you can short it to, like Flo or Flory or anything like that. I just think it's gorgeous. I wouldn't use it because it is so popular, but I think middle name territory, it would be perfect. I just think it is the most beautiful little name. So F is for Florence. For G, I quite struggled to find a name I loved beginning with G. There just aren't that many G names out there, so if you think of any, let me know. But the one that I came up with for my favourite is a Harry Potter inspired name if you love Harry Potter, and that is Ginny. I think it's super cute, but I don't think I could get past a baby that isn't ginger being called Ginny. I think because of Ginny Weasley, it'd have to be a little ginger baby, wouldn't it? A little ginger Ginny. But yeah, I just think it's really cute, really pretty. I can't decide if I prefer it spelled Ginny or Ginnie. Let me know in the comments which you prefer. But I think Ginny is really cute, and the only girl's name I could come up with beginning with G that I really like. For H, I have gone for Hattie. Hattie can of course be short for Harriet. But I don't think if I was to use it I would go for Harriet. I think I would just go for Hattie in its own right. I know it is creeping on up there in popularity now, being used on its own rather than specifically as like a shortened name for Harriet. But I just think Hattie's really cute. It's quite a posh name, I think. Like, it makes me think of like someone from Made in Chelsea. They should be called Hattie. Sorry if you can hear crashing around in the kitchen, by the way. Andrew's making himself a bacon sandwich. But yeah, I think Hattie sounds quite posh. Next up on my list is I. And for I, there's quite a few names I think are really pretty beginning with I, but I've gone with Iris. Again, I think it's quite a vintage name, which I really like. Having a Wilf, for those of you that have just stumbled across my channel, my little boy is called Wilf, short for Wilfred. So it's a very like vintage, old school name. So if I ever had a girl, I would definitely have to go down like the vintage old school name route again, or it would sound a little bit strange. So yeah, I love Iris. It's quite popular, which puts me off slightly, but I do think it's a beautiful name. Yeah, so I really do like Iris for the letter I. For J, I've gone for a really cute one, which is quite like a new addition to the baby name list I keep on my phone, and that is Juniper. I think it's adorable. I love these like longer names at the moment. I'm really liking that. I really love the name Juno, so I think you could shorten Juniper to Juno, and I think that'd be really cute. So yeah, not tons to say about it. Again, another like nature inspired name for Juniper. K, I massively struggled with. There just aren't many names beginning with K that aren't ones that normally begin with C, that have just been like changed to a K Kardashian style, which I'm not a big fan of all your children starting with the same letter, which I actually love so many names beginning with W. So I wouldn't be put off using a W name because I've already got Wilf, but just like multiple, that Kardashian, like every name having to be in with K thing, I just find really weird. Like, I still can't get over they spelt Chloe with a K just so it fit in with the Kardashian surname. I don't know. If you really like that, I don't mean to offend anyone, but it's just not for me at all. And I really struggled to find a name beginning with K that wasn't like Chloe with a K or Connie with a K, or just like any name just added with a K. I find it really weird. So the name I've gone for is not one I would probably ever choose. I just really struggled. So anyway, I've gone for Kate, like Princess Kate. I just think it's a really classic name. It's very of like my generation. Like, I know lots of Kates. Like, it's a lovely name, but I probably wouldn't call a baby Kate. Like, little baby Kate, it's just not really very current. Yeah, I just struggled with K, so I've gone for Kate, but I probably wouldn't ever use it. we'll just skip on past K and go to L. And my favourite L name, without a doubt, is Lillian. I love the name Lillian. I've always loved it. If any of you were like a bit of an emo kid like I was, you might have listened to Plus 44 and they had a song called Lillian. And as you can see, I have very big like song connections with songs. If I really like a song and it's got a name in it, the name seems to automatically go on my baby name list. So that's happened with Lillian as well, because I love Plus 44. Lillian, so that went straight on my list, but obviously Abby, my cousin, has Lily, so I could never use Lillian, but I do just think it is the most gorgeous, gorgeous name, and I love it shortened to Lily or Lil. So yeah, Lillian is definitely my favourite girl's name, beginning with the letter L. For M, I had loads of options. I really like M names for girls, but I've gone for Mabel. Again, a really vintage sounding name, so I think Wilf and Mabel would sound lovely together, but Mabel is... Wilf having a bit of a sass over there. But yeah, I really love Mabel, but it's super popular now. I know quite a lot of people with Mabels. So yeah, I probably wouldn't use it for that reason, but I absolutely love the name. It's got that vintage sound, which I completely adore. Yeah, and Mabel is definitely up there for baby girls' names for me. For the letter N, I've gone for Nora. Again, I feel like a stuck record, but another very like vintage sounding name. I really, really like the name Nora. There weren't tons of N names. That's another letter I found quite difficult to come up with names I really liked. But Nora's definitely up there. Obviously, Norah Jones, the like jazz singer, made it quite popular. Yeah, and I just think it's a lovely name. Again, I don't know whether I prefer it with or without a H on the end. I think Norah Jones had a H on the end, but I think I possibly prefer it without. Let me know in the comments which spelling you prefer. For the letter O is a name that again was one of the top contenders on my baby name list when I was pregnant with Wilf, had he been a girl, and I still absolutely love this name, and that is Olive. I know Olivia is super, super popular. It's like number 1 or 2, I think, in the UK top 100, which, as I've mentioned, does kind of put me off names, but I think Olive is like a very similar, like, pretty sound, but it's just a little bit more unusual. You don't encounter as many Olives. It's quite quirky, I think. It's quite cool, and it's food inspired, which, if you love food as much as I do, can only ever be a good thing. Yeah, I still love Olive. It's still on my baby girl's name list for if I have a future baby, but there are names I slightly prefer to it, but it's definitely still got middle name territory. I just love the name Olive, if you can't tell. P is my absolute, if it's possible to have a favourite letter, P is my absolute favourite letter for girls' names. There are so many names beginning with P I absolutely love for girls. One I have to mention that I'm loving at the moment is Pandora. I really like Pandora. But I will go for Primrose, which was my number 1 contender had we been having a girl. Wilf, without doubt, would have been Primrose. I absolutely love it. I think Prim for short is just the most beautiful name. It's a floral name, which again I really love, but it's also quite vintage. It's definitely increasing in popularity. I do follow a few people on Instagram now that have little primroses, but I just think it's absolutely beautiful and still not like mega popular, still a little bit quirky. I don't think I've ever met a primrose in like real life, but I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. For Q, I've gone for a unisex name, which, spoiler alert, I've used for my girl's name and for my boy's name. Obviously there's not tons of choice for Q, but I do love the name Quinn. There's a Quinn in Scandal, if any of you watch Scandal, and I've loved it since then. Yeah, I do really like it for both genders, but I think I do prefer it for a girl than a boy, but Quinn would be my Q choice. For R, I've gone for a name which is traditionally more of a boy's name than a girl's name. I'm definitely tend to steer more towards like girly names for girls, but I really, really love this for a girl, and that is the name Rory. I like Rory for a boy, don't get me wrong, but for a girl I just way prefer it. I think it's much more quirky. I still think it's got quite a girly sound to it, and I just love it. It could be short for Aurora. Aurora's not really my kind of name. It's very like Disney, and I'm not really a Disney girl. I have no problems with Disney, but I'm not like a massive Disney fan. So I probably wouldn't go for Aurora because of that link, but I just really like Rory. I'd just have it in its own right, and I think it's really, really pretty, just Rory on its own. S I found surprisingly difficult. There aren't tons of names I could think of that began with S that I really liked. I'm sure I'll think of loads after making this video, but I really struggled. So I've gone for Sage, which is another, could be very unisex name, very nature inspired, very food inspired. Yeah, so I've gone for sage, as in the herb sage, and sage green, which, as you can tell from the colour of my wall, I am obsessed with. My living room sage, my front door sage, love a bit of sage green. So yeah, I've gone for sage, which I don't think I would ever actually use. Maybe as a middle name it would be really nice, but yeah, I really struggled with S, and I was surprised by that because I thought there'd be tons of S names I liked. Yeah, let me know in the comments what your favourite S name is, because that one's surprisingly difficult. For T, I've gone for the girl version of Wilf's middle name, and that is Theodora. I think it's so cute. I think it's really pretty, and I love how many like nicknames you can have from Theodora. You could have Thea, which I really like. You can have Dora, which I absolutely love, or you could have Teddy, which for a girl I think is absolutely the cutest name ever, or for a boy. Obviously my godson's called Teddy, Wilf's middle name is Theodore after Teddy, and yeah, I just have such like an affinity with that name. But yeah, Theodora for a girl I think is really cute as well. For you, there wasn't tons of choice, but I've gone for Una, which is like quite an Irish name, I think. I just think it's really pretty, really simple, really pretty. You couldn't really shorten it to anything. It kind of just is what it is. Yeah, that's what I'd go for. Not like my favourite name in the world, wouldn't be one I would ever actually use, I don't think, but I was struggling, and Una's definitely my favourite of the U names I could come up with. For V, I've gone for one that has been on my baby name list for so long, but it's just like always on my list. It's always on my girls list. Please tell me I'm not the only one, by the way, that has a constant baby name list on my phone, and every time I hear a name I like, I'm like, oh, that's going on the list. But this one has been on my baby name list forever, but it just always seems to like never make it to the top of the list. It's just like always kind of lingering there, and that is Violet. I think Violet's so pretty. Again, it's floral, it's vintage, it's everything I like in a baby girl's name, and would definitely be strong middle name contender if I ever had a girl, I think. Yeah, I don't know why it's never quite made it to the top of the list, because I think it's a beautiful name, but there's just always things I like slightly prefer to it, but I do really love it, and I think those names that are quite strong and solid like that make really good middle names. So yeah, something Violet Cotter I think sounds quite cute. For W, I had quite a lot of choice. As I've mentioned, I love W names, especially W boys names, and I really find boys names hard, but there are loads of boys names I like beginning with W. For a girl, I've always loved Willow, again, and that was the other like main contender on our girls list if Wilf was a girl, because I just think it's a gorgeous nature-inspired name, but also biggest Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan here. I am a massive Buffy fan, so anything with a little nod to Buffy is good in my books. But what I am loving, possibly even more than Willow at the moment, just because Willow has got so popular, is Willa. Willa. I think it's so gorgeous. I follow someone on Instagram and she's got a little Willa, and I just think it's absolutely lovely. It's still really girly, really similar to Willow, but just a little bit different. I've never really come across many Willas before, and I just think it's absolutely lovely, so that would be my W choice. For X, I've gone for probably a pretty obvious choice because there's not tons of names beginning with X, but it's one that I think is pretty Greek inspired, and as you may or may not know if you follow me for a while, I am part Greek Cypriot. My mum's side of the family are Greek Cypriot. So I've gone for Xanthe, which I'm pretty sure is a Greek name. This is going to be embarrassing now. I should have done my research. I've not like looked at any of the meanings or anything because I just knew this would be such a long video. But I've gone for Xanthe. I think it's really just a pretty name, and there wasn't tons of choice for X. I like that it has that little nod to Greek heritage, I hope, if I've not made that up. And yeah, I just really like the name Xanthe. I think it's super, super pretty. Y and Z I really struggled with for girls' names, so I'm not going to go into any detail about them. This was like the best I could come up with out of very, very little choice. So for Y, I've gone for Yasmin, and for Z, I've gone for Zara. not crazy about either. They're just the best I could come up with for those letters. So yeah, that is the alphabet. That is my A to Z of baby girls' names. If you can be bothered, type up your A to Z in the comments. I would love to know. I'm just obsessed with baby names. I could talk about them all day. I definitely would love to do more baby name videos in the future. If you'd like to see them, give me some theme ideas in the comments. Let me know what kind of baby name videos you'd like to see, and I'd be happy to do that because I really just love baby names. I could talk about them all day, as I keep rambling on about. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go and film the boys version. I hope you don't mind that I will look exactly the same, but there's no point getting changed when I've clearly filmed them on the same day. So yeah, I hope you're all having a great week. Hopefully I will be having a fabulous time on holiday, in the trees, in my happy place. And I'm going to leave it there for this video, guys, and see you all in my next one.